As the assessment grade shows, you are expected to defend a position on the exam question you chose out of the two that were assigned to you. The question here is, how do I defend a position? How do I answer rather yes or rather no to this question, which I'm asked, and how can I be persuasive? This is what this video is aimed at showing, what the logic of persuasion is. First, it's important understanding what it is not. Argumentation is by no means a mathematical demonstration. If you take an approach which is x, then y, then z, therefore my conclusion, you are at a twofold risk. The first risk is that the logical chain onto the end, onto your claim, may be so long that the audience could be lost at some stage, that the audience could not really know where you're trying to take them or what it is you're trying to say. The second risk is that of not being able to finish, of not being able to eventually make your claim. And this because time is severely limited. So it is recommended that you should develop the opposite approach, where you start with a claim you are making and are bringing the evidence thereof. That is, you should start with your claim and then develop why it is so, why this claim is valid. The logical structure should therefore be reversed as compared to a mathematical demonstration. You should start with my claim is blah 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 because of this, because of that. And then here the logical chain can be pretty brief. You'll be straightforward as you know how far you need to go. At some stage, the next reason, the next explanation will be useless, so it is no problem. Also, if you end up being short with time, at least you are certain you can make your point across. At worst, you will not have had enough time to develop the why of this claim, but at least the audience will know what this claim is. So, what is now the logical structure of a persuasive argument? First, you start with one claim, one idea that you should be capable of expressing in a tweet, 140 characters with a hook, a sentence, which is the idea, and the relevant hashtags. This claim must be quite brief and simple to express and understand. Next, one theoretical argument. This theoretical argument is what makes this claim valid. Or one logical argument. One is enough. No need to have more than one. If you see several that could be pertinent or interesting, you choose the one which you think is the most serving your purpose and ignore others. Lastly, one concrete empirical example. Here, your point can only be convincing because you theoretically and logically develop it and back it, and because you can evidence it with some empirical material, with one example. One is enough. No need to have more than one examples. The more you bring, the less convincing the next example shall be, and the more it is likely to undermine the persuasiveness of the previous one. But this structure, claim, theoretical argument, concrete example, is very important because a claim with just a theoretical argument and no concrete example is worth nil. Likewise, a claim associated with a concrete empirical example but not backed with a theoretical argument is worth nil, cannot be persuasive. So be very clear with what it means to be persuasive. Claim, theoretical argument, concrete empirical example, and all this under the purview of making my point valid.